Hey Insulators, we're here in Wert, Ohio at the Factory of Cool Machines. They're having a conference right now that's sponsored by Cool Machines as well as Green Fiber Sanctuary. And we have some friends from overseas that have come. So Dave, why don't you introduce them and tell us a little bit about what's going on today.
Welcome to everybody. We're here to showcase our facility and our products here today. 2 days with wall spray training and dense packing. We have about 50 attendees to the conference. We have some very great speakers on a lot of things, all the way to how do you run your business with AI and techniques for wall spray. One of the things I'm excited about is having our friends from overseas that represent our products and finding out how their perspective is on the business and the potential for the future. And I'm just going to kind of let the introductions go to these guys and maybe a little background, and I'll pass it off to the head of our European Cool Machines group over here that represents our products throughout Europe, Morten Nielsen.
Thank you very much, Dave. Yeah, I'm Morten. I'm from the Danish company Isodan, and we have been the European distributor for Cool Machines for the past 25 years or so. We are always looking into expanding our business together with Cool Machines, coming up with some new ideas and how to do and what not to do. And here we also have brought our distributor for Norway. Our Norwegian dealers are sitting over here.
My name is Knut. I'm CEO for CBI Norway. CBI is for cellulose-based insulation, so we are the biggest distributor of cellulose insulation in the Norwegian market.
And I'm Vemund. I've been working for CBI Norway for 5 years now, and I also worked as an installer for 5 or 6 years before that.
Obviously, construction and architecture over here is quite a bit different, and here at the seminar, they were teaching all about wall spray cellulose as well as an add-on with the dense packing. And I believe in our conversations you do a lot more dense packing than you do wall spray. Can you explain where wall spray is in Europe and more regionally how they might do it a little differently than here?
Yeah, I think we know there is some wall spray in Finland, but wall spray is not common at all in Norway. It's dense pack and loose fill on the attics. That is the main business for us.
Sure. So outside of the cellulose?
The fiberglass is, I think, the most used blown product.
Okay.
And also bats for stone wall, glass wall is also 60-70% of the market, I think, actually, in the housing industry.
How is the wall spray different over there than it is here? Do you use water and starch, or?
In Finland, I think they used a glue solution. In Norway, it's so not common at all. So. But we try to see if that's a solution we can bring to the Norwegian market. But we will need to test it a little bit before we push the button.
I've traveled numerous times overseas and I've seen wall spray in different countries like the Czech Republic and more recently a number of years ago in Spain with our dealers in Spain. And for the most part, we noticed that they're spraying awfully wet. They're throwing a lot of water into it, and they're doing a process that we would prefer not to do. We want to keep it as dry as possible and stick it in the wall. And so I think that's the big thing to answer Barry's question. If we see differences, I've seen differences overseas where they're spraying awful wet. Okay, and I picked up from the guys talking earlier that in Norway you have more cavity-built homes. So there's cavities there to spray into. Maybe in Denmark and some of the European countries like Germany, they have a lot of stone wall construction that there's no cavity to spray into. The houses are not that big, so you can't really build the walls out into the house and lessen the square footage there. And so sometimes when I've seen applications in Europe, they try to do it on the outside of the house and put another covering over it and wall spray. So that's just over the last 10, 15 years what I've seen. But it's a huge market potential for anybody who's got new construction with cavity walls.
We were discussing earlier the differences of where you put the insulation compared to here. Now, you do loose fill in an attic envelope, just like we do on the ceilings, but there are a lot of times that you will just go up the roof line, right?
Yeah.
And what I found interesting in talking to you, explain about the ventilation on that house and where you ventilate.
Then I think you should.
Okay. Yeah. In Norway, you have compare. We were in a couple of building sites here this week, and we see you normally have a OSB board outside, and you put the cladding straight on. In Norway, we have a diffusion open, either a membrane or a wood fiber board or a gypsum board. Then you have a ventilation, and then you have, especially in Norway, very often a wooden cladding. Same is also for the roof. You need to have a diffusion open membrane and airing gap before you have covered with concrete tiles or metal sheets.
So you have a thermal break or an air gap between
Yeah.
the inner wall and the outer exterior.
Yeah, you need to have a ventilated, drained, wind-tight layer in according to the regulations in Norway.
So your roofs are obviously ventilated as well as your walls.
Yes.
Interesting. We don't really ventilate our walls.
No, but I know in some of the older construction in the United States where they had brick walls on the outside brick, there would be an air gap between the inner stud wall. They would put like a tar paper wrap, and there would always be a half-inch or inch air gap between there. What we call it a drain down area for the moisture that would come in and ventilation.
Okay. What do you think is the most common material used for insulation?
In Norway, they use a lot of glass wool or rock wool beds. Also, some kind of wood fiber beds, also loose. I will say that maybe 90% is still beds in Norway. It's coming more and more with the loose fill as well.
In general, we can see that the market in Europe are transferring from bad insulation into loose fiber in general, and that goes with both the bio-based materials and also the mineral wool. So it's rapidly changing. So we can see there's a market for machines and an even greater market. We have been dealing with the machines, I think, for almost 50 years, and from where we started back 50 years ago, and today is a total different market.
In Europe, they have a really nice tool. It's like a really long aluminum dense pack needle. Do you use those?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Can
you get those over here in the U.S.? We need them.
Yeah, we can always send them.
I'm sure more
Okay.
the guys in Spain see it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They look like a giant hypodermic needle that, if you ever see those needles they stitch you with, like that, it's a long tube just like that, and they stick it in through the netting, and it gets all the way to where they need to go, then they go down. It's really
Right.
a nice tool.
Because over here, we have to cut a slit in it, and then we have to put our hose in it, and then when you're done, it.
Now, hose is flexible and falling around sometimes.
Yeah.
This is,
You just
Yeah.
strap it in.
Nice.
and, yeah. So we sell quite a lot of those during the year
Okay.
for the installers. Yes.
Great, great. Morten, anything you need to add, want to add, that we haven't covered yet?
No, but in regards to the construction, you have, depending on where you are in Europe, even though we're in Scandinavia, both Denmark and Norway, the construction methods are quite different. We have not so much wood in Denmark, so we are building out of bricks more or less the main part of the housing.
Sure.
So that makes a difference. We used to do it in the older days with a cavity. We still build a cavity wall, but before, in the old days, we had just the cavity without any insulation. So there's been a big aftermarket for blow-in insulation in older houses.
Sure. Back to Norway. Traditionally, Norway houses were covered with sod on the roofs. Do they still do a lot of that in the new construction, or is that something more what they've done? Grass.
Yeah.
Grass.
That's for the expensive cabins in the mountain. It's still used, but not traditionally.
Okay.
So, but it's it's just for show off. You have a
Yeah.
membrane and
Right.
everything, so it's a quite expensive solution. Yeah.
But Denmark, I see a lot of the straw roofs.
You still have them, but again, like Knut is saying, it's quite expensive today to have it made. In the old days, it was the material you could get a hold of, but nowadays it's more romantic that you build a house with a straw roof. Yeah, but expensive.
Yeah. Well, this has been interesting. Dave, can you think of anything else that you want to ask?
I can't think of anything else I can speak of. If you guys want to comment on anything and add to the discussion?
It's nothing else than saying it's been very interesting to be here this week. Luckily, we've been on a couple of building sites and this very learningful class here. So we bring a lot of new knowledge back to Norway now.
If you're in Europe and you're watching this and you need materials, you need methods, you need training, we'll include all their contact information in the description below this video. As well, we look forward to going there ourselves, and we'll love to make some video over there while we're there with you, and we'll make that a priority.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I look forward to see you there.
Thank you all.